Hi, good evening viewers. You're watching Sansad television with me, Rashika Gangwani, and this is the news, where we get you the day's top stories, be it national, international, business, sports and weather details. So let's begin with the headlines of the day. Ease of justice as important as ease of doing business, asserts Prime Minister Modi at the All India District Legal Services Authority Convention. Chief Justice N. Ramana lays stress on access of justice for all. Energy and power sector will accelerate India's progress in the next 25 years. Prime Minister addresses Ujjwal India program, lays foundation stone of 5,000 crore green energy project. 3 bank accounts of Partha Chatterjee's aide Arpita Mukherjee frozen. 2 crore rupees found in the account. Bank accounts of shell companies also under ED scanner. Parliament disruptions affect progress of the country, says Rajya Sabha Chairman Venkaiah Naidu at the orientation program for new MPs of the Rajya Sabha. Weightlifter Sanket Mahadev bags silver, India's first medal in Birmingham Commonwealth Games. Weightlifter Guru Raj Pujari wins bronze in 61 kg category. Now look at some other important news of the day. Prime Minister Modi speaks to the UN chief about the deaths of 2 Indian peacekeepers in Congo, calls for speedy probe into the incident. At SCO Foreign Ministers meeting, Jaishankar calls for efforts to tackle global energy and food crisis, pushes for Chabahar port to be conduit for trade to Central Asia. Union Minister Narendra Singh Tomar presents Agriculture Infrastructure Fund Awards. .5140 at Dras and Kargil sector renamed Gun Hill to honour supreme sacrifice of the gunners in Operation Vijay. Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary apologizes to President Draupadi Murmu for alleged objectionable remark, assures it was a slip of tongue. China conducts military exercises off its coast opposite Taiwan, wants US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to scrap plans to visit Taiwan. Prime Minister Modi urges states to clear dues of rupees 2.5 lakh crore to power sector companies. Ahmedabad Sessions Court rejects bail application of Teesta Setalwar and retired Gujarat DGP R.B. Kumar in a case related to the 2002 Gujarat riots. Rohit Sharma surpasses Martin Guptill to become leading run scorer in men's T20 International. Rohit now has 3,443 T20 International runs in 129 matches with 27 50s and 4 centuries. Sanju Samson replaces KL Rahul in India's T20 International squad for West Indies series. Rahul recovering from COVID. Now news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi urged the judiciary to expedite the release of undertrials languishing in various jails. Addressing the first All India District Legal Services Authorities meet in New Delhi, Prime Minister said that ease of justice is equally important as ease of doing business and ease of living. Reiterating that Amrit Kal is a period of duty, the Prime Minister said that it is a time for resolutions that will take the country to the new heights in the next 25 years. He also raised the issue of sensitivity towards under-trial prisoners.
पिछले 8 वर्षों में देश के जुडिशियल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को मजबूत करने के लिए तेज गति से काम हुआ है। जुडिशियल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को आधुनिक बनाने के लिए 9,000 करोड़ रुपए खर्च किए जा रहे हैं। देश में कोर्ट हॉल्स की संख्या भी बढ़ी है। जुडिशियल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के निर्माण में ये तेजी जस्टिस डिलीवरी को भी स्पीड अप करेगी।
Chief Justice of India N.V. Ramana said that strengthening the judiciary at district level is the need of the hour. He also stressed on the need for using modern information tools for speedy delivery of justice.
Today, only a small percentage of our population can approach the judicial delivery system when in the need. Majority of the people suffer in silence, lacking of awareness and necessary means. Modern India was built around the goal of removing the disparities in the society. Project Democracy is about providing a space for participation of all.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Saturday emphasized that the energy sector will play a huge role in accelerating India's progress over the next 25 years. The Prime Minister was addressing the Ujjwal Bharat, Ujjwal Bhavishya Power at 2047 program via video conferencing. He asked the state governments to clear power sector companies' dues, which are estimated at around 2.5 lakh crore rupees. The Prime Minister also interacted with the beneficiaries of various schemes. During the program, he launched the revamped distribution sector scheme. He also dedicated and laid the foundation stone of various green energy projects of NTPC. He launched the National Solar Rooftop Portal.
देश में लगभग 1,70,000 मेगावाट बिजली उत्पादन की क्षमता जोड़ी गई है। वन नेशन, वन पावर ग्रिड आज देश की ताकत बन चुका है। पूरे देश को जोड़ने के लिए लगभग 1,70,000 सर्किट किलोमीटर ट्रांसमिशन लाइंस बिछाई गई हैं।
The centre has adopted a zero-tolerance policy towards the narcotics and it was showing results, asserted Home Minister Amit Shah on Saturday. He inaugurated a two-day national conference on drug trafficking and national security in Chandigarh. Addressing the gathering, Shah said that drugs have an adverse impact not only on those consuming them but also on the society, economy and the country's security.
अगर हम युवाओं को नशे की लत से मुक्त कराने का अभियान तेज नहीं करेंगे तो कितनी भी नारकोटिक्स पकड़ लो हम फेल हो जाएंगे। और अगर कितने भी युवाओं को आप नशे से मुक्त कराओगे, अगर नए युवा इसके अंदर जोड़ने का अभियान, जागरूकता अभियान नहीं करोगे तो फेल हो जाओगे। और ये दोनों कर लिया मगर नारकोटिक्स को नहीं रोक पाए तो भी फेल हो जाओ। अतः ये तीनों चीजों पर, ये तीनों बिंदुओं पर हमने एक समान होल ऑफ गवर्नमेंट अप्रोच के साथ आगे बढ़ना।
Now take a quick look at some other news from across the nation. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh called on President Draupadi Murmu at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Rajnath Singh tweeted that it was a courtesy call. Vice President Venkaiah Naidu appealed to all educational institutions to promote all-round development of the students. He was addressing school students in Hyderabad. The Enforcement Directorate attaches assets worth over rupees 2.39 crore of a former general manager of Hindustan Aeronautics Limited and 5 others in connection with alleged misappropriation of funds. A terrorist was killed in an encounter with security forces in Jammu and Kashmir's Baramulla district. The encounter took place during the search operation in Vanigam Bala of Creary area. The country's first monkeypox patient, who was admitted to a government medical college in Thiruvananthapuram, has recovered, State Health Minister Veena George said on Saturday. Auditions for 5G spectrum continued for the 5th day on Saturday, after fetching bids worth rupees 1,49,855 crore from players such as Reliance Jio and Bharti Airtel so far. Terming it a good response, Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav had said that about 71% of the total spectrum put on the block has been provisionally sold so far. On Friday, 7 rounds of bidding took place and incrementally rupees 231.6 crore was recorded. In all, 23 rounds of bidding were conducted till Friday. Rajya Sabha Chairman Venkaiah Naidu asked the new members of the upper house to keep in mind the 3 Ds, that is, discuss, debate and decide, while avoiding distractions. He also praised Sansad television and advised the MPs to watch its programs. Inaugurating the 2-day orientation program for new members of the Rajya Sabha, the chairman said MPs should take special care in the choice of words while speaking in the House and avoid using unparliamentary words. He appealed to the members to contribute to the well-being of the people and the development of the country. Deputy Chairman of Rajya Sabha Harivansh also addressed the program.
You must always think that Parliament is there to discuss, debate and decide. Do not disrupt. Disruption leads to disruption of democracy. So my suggestion to all the members is, first of all, be regular, sincere, attentive, allow others to speak, and you also try to raise your points as and when necessary.
कि कामकाज को बेहतर ढंग से जानने के लिए इससे प्रभावी कार्यक्रम और कोई दूसरा नहीं हो सकता। मुझे उम्मीद है कि आपके लिए बहुत बेहतर एक लर्निंग अनुभव होगा। आप अपनी जिम्मेदारियों को बहुत अच्छी तरह बखूबी इस कार्यक्रम के बाबत और अच्छी तरह निभा पाएंगे।
Secretary General of Rajya Sabha PC Modi informed members about the working of the Secretariat. Orientation programs acquaint new members of the Rajya Sabha with the various aspects of parliamentary practice and procedures. Sessions are conducted on specific topics in which senior MPs and parliamentary affairs experts discuss and explain the issues. Now let's trace the monsoon in various parts of the nation. A look at the rain situation in the country. Incessant rains in many parts of Uttarakhand triggered landslides at many places. Over 250 roads, including national highways leading to Badrinath and Kedarnath, were blocked. In the Garhwal division, the water level of Ganga reached the danger mark. A major part of the Nainital-Bhavali road was washed away in Nainital district. Repairs are expected to take about a week. In Rajasthan, rains flooded many low-lying areas in the eastern parts of the state. The highest rainfall of 90 mm was recorded in Jhalawar's Khanpur area. Kota, Sri Ganganagar are also waterlogged. Heavy rains are likely to continue in many parts till August 2nd. In Karnataka, many rivers are flowing above the danger mark. A flood-like situation is being seen in coastal Karnataka and Malnad. Many districts are submerged. The district administration declared a holiday in schools in Mangaluru. The heavy to very heavy rains are expected to continue till August 2nd. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla said the responsibility of fulfilling the dream of India's great freedom fighters rests with the youth of the country. He was addressing teachers and students at the annual function of Ramjas College, Delhi on Saturday. The Lok Sabha Speaker said today's youth need to understand the views of our great men. Referring to the Amrit Mahotsav of Independence, he said India has touched new heights in these 75 years. It is the responsibility of the youth to ensure that our country continues to stay on this path towards progress.
मैं विशेष रूप से इस कॉलेज के फाउंडर राय केदारनाथ जी को साधुवाद देता हूं। कितनी बड़ी दूरदृष्टि होगी उनकी कि उन्होंने अपना सारा जीवन इस कॉलेज, विद्यार्थियों और शिक्षा के लिए समर्पण कर दिया।
Time for a short break here. On the other side, France readies a sobriety plan to tackle plummeting energy supplies from Russia. Welcome back. You're watching the news. Now time for all the big developments from Russia-Ukraine war front. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky called on the United Nations and the Red Cross to react after a missile strike on a Russia-run prison in Olenivka. He urged the two organizations to protect the lives of hundreds of Ukrainian prisoners of war. Meanwhile, Russia claimed that the attack was carried out by Ukraine using US-supplied rocket launchers. Russian officials said the attack killed 53 Ukrainian prisoners of war and wounded another 75. Fighting continued in various parts of Ukraine on Saturday. Ukrainian military said that the Russian army struck infrastructure objects with barrel and rocket artillery in Siversk. Shelling was recorded in Kharkiv, Kramatorsk and Sloviansk region. As Ukraine is preparing to export grains, many fields near the front lines continue to burn due to heavy shelling by the Russian forces. Many warehouses have also been destroyed due to the war. In many areas, farmers are harvesting the crop wearing ballistic vests, worried of their fields being hit by Russian missiles. Time now for some international stories. Tensions between the United States and China have heightened in the recent days. The latest flashpoint is a possible Taiwan visit by US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. In a call with US President Joe Biden, China's President Xi Jinping has warned America not to play with fire over Taiwan. Take a look.
A day after President Xi Jinping warned not to play with fire over Taiwan, in a call with US President Joe Biden, China's Deputy Ambassador to the United Nations, Geng Shuang, reiterated the message at a UN Security Council meeting on Friday.
While some country has repeatedly emphasized the principle of sovereignty over the issue of Ukraine, it has incessantly challenged the sovereignty of China over Taiwan and even deliberately created tension in the Taiwan Strait. This is a disregard and infringement of the principles and purposes of the UN Charter. China has always respected the sovereignty of other countries and certainly hopes that its own sovereignty be respected by other countries.
Addressing the media in Washington, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken spoke about President Joe Biden's call with his Chinese counterpart and the U.S. relationship with Taiwan. Blinken is visiting Asia and Africa amid the deepening divisions between China and the United States over Taiwan and Russia's war in Ukraine.
We have many differences when it comes to Taiwan, but over the past 40-plus years, we have managed those differences. And done it in a way that has preserved peace and stability and has allowed the people on Taiwan to flourish. It would be important as part of our shared responsibility to continue to manage this in a wise way that doesn't create the prospect for conflict.
U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi declined to discuss whether she will travel to Taiwan during a trip to Asia next month, citing security reasons. News of a possible visit by Pelosi has set off intense speculation about China's potential diplomatic and military responses. But for Taiwan, the visit, if it occurs, would be merely the latest point of strife in an already tense situation that has shadowed the island democracy for decades. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
And in more news from across the world, Spain reported its second monkeypox-related death on Saturday, in what is thought to be Europe's second death from the disease and only the third outside of Africa in the current outbreak. Spain had reported its first death as recently as Friday, shortly after Brazil reported the first monkeypox-related death. According to a WHO report from July 22nd, only 5 deaths had been reported, all in the African region. North Korea reported no new fever cases on Saturday for the first time since its acknowledgement in mid-May of a COVID-19 outbreak in the isolated country. North Korea said earlier this month it was on a path to finally defuse its first publicly declared coronavirus crisis, even as Asian neighbors experience a resurgence in infections driven by Omicron variants. At least 16 people were killed in a record flash flooding in eastern Kentucky in the United States. The deluge swamped entire Appalachian towns and prompted a frenzied search for survivors through some of the poorest communities in America. Officials warned the death toll would likely grow sharply and more rain was forecast in coming days. Myanmar nationals living in South Korea gathered in downtown Seoul on Saturday to condemn the military for the executions of 4 political prisoners in Myanmar. Protesters wore black cloths to mourn the deaths of the 4 activists as they marched towards the Myanmar military attaché's office. A former lawmaker and 3 activists were tried, convicted and sentenced by a military tribunal with no access to appeal. Sri Lankan police have produced before a court millions of rupees in cash found by anti-government protesters inside former President Gotabaya Rajapaksa's official residence. Gotabaya Rajapaksa fled the mansion following the mass uprising against his government 3 weeks ago. The protesters recovered 17.85 million Sri Lankan rupees inside his mansion, which were later handed over to the police. Hundreds of followers of an influential Shiite cleric breached Iraq's parliament on Saturday for a second time this week to protest the government formation efforts led by Iran-backed groups. Iraqi security forces used tear gas and sound bombs to repel the demonstrators. Here are the details.
Supporters of populist Shiite cleric Muqtada al-Sadr on Saturday scaled barricades and moved further into Baghdad's Green Zone area. Hundreds marched through the streets waving flags and collectively bringing down or scaling concrete barriers. An expected parliament session did not take place and there were no lawmakers in the hall. The Green Zone area is the site of several government buildings and foreign embassies. Mass mobilization and control is a well-worn strategy of al-Sadr, a mercurial figure who has emerged as a powerful force in Iraq's cutthroat political scene with the nationalist anti-Iran agenda. Although al-Sadr's alliance won the most seats in October's parliamentary election, squabbling political parties failed to reach the two-third majority needed to pick a president, an important step before the prime minister can be selected. After the negotiations broke down, al-Sadr withdrew his bloc from parliament and announced he was exiting talks on forming a government. Nearly 10 months after national elections were held, Iraq has been unable to form a new government. That's the longest period since the 2003 US invasion that reset the political order. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
The French government is preparing a sobriety plan to reduce energy consumption by 10% within 2 years as gas supply from Russia plummets and European countries scramble to refill storage ahead of winter. Let's find out how.
The French government is issuing 2 decrees to cut down energy consumption. One will ban illuminated signs and shop windows between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. and the other will prohibit shops from having their doors open while the air conditioning or heating is on. On 14 July, French President Emmanuel Macron warned a televised interview to prepare for a total cut-off of Russian natural gas by supporting alternative energy sources. He called for keeping public lights switched off at night and engaging in nationwide energy sobriety. Companies will be fined up to €750 if they fail to comply with the new rules starting September. The government hopes the measures will save kilowatts of gas, fuel and electricity. Meanwhile, even before the government announced the steps, activists in Paris have been taking matters into their own hands. Members of On the Spot Collective climb up shop fronts with their bare hands in the middle of the night, switching off the lights. 30-year-old engineer and On the Spot founder Kevin said, "It's a symbolic action, but with a clear message, as everyone can have a positive impact to reduce the overall energy footprint." More reductions this week through a major gas pipeline to Germany, Nord Stream 1, have heightened fears that Russia may cut off supplies to Europe completely. That would force rationing for energy-intensive industries and spike already record high levels of inflation, driven by soaring energy prices, threatening to plunge the European Union into recession. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now time for all the sporting action. Sanket Sargar won India's first medal, a silver in 55 kg category weightlifting at the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. Sanket lifted a total weight of 248 kgs, 113 kilograms in the snatch and 135 kgs in clean and jerk. Guru Raja Pujari won bronze in men's 61 kg weightlifting at CWG 2022, India's second medal of the day. Guru Raja lifted a total of 269 kgs, 1 kg more than Canada's Yuri Simard to win bronze. India's men and women table tennis teams had twin wins each in their group matches in the Commonwealth Games. The men's team first beat Barbados before thrashing Singapore, while the women's side prevailed over South Africa and Fiji. Indian swimmer Sri Harinath has qualified for the finals of men's 100-meter backstroke after clocking 54.55 seconds in the semi-final event at the ongoing Commonwealth Games. India beat West Indies by 68 runs in the first of 5 T20 international played in Tarouba. India scored 190 for 6 batting first. Rohit Sharma scored 64, Dinesh Karthik 41 of 19 balls. Indian bowlers restricted the home team to 122 for 8. We have come to the end of the bulletin. You stay tuned to Sansad Television. Thank you for watching. Good night.